Have you ever felt that little disconnect? You know, the one between chasing after what the world tells you to want and a much deeper feeling of purpose? Well, today we're diving into a really powerful idea called the Great Feminine Reversal. The basic thought is that a sacred, potent energy has been sort of knocked off its true north and pointed toward more, well, surface-level illusions. Let's really unpack what that means.
So to kick things off, let's start with this incredible line from the Bhagavad Gita. The pleasures from contact with the senses are wombs of suffering. Wow, this really nails the central conflict, doesn't it? That constant push and pull between those fleeting external joys and a more lasting internal wisdom. This is the core tension we're going to be exploring.
All right, so to really get what this reversal is all about, we gotta go back to the beginning. We need to understand the original blueprint. The whole argument is built on the Vedic concept of Shakti, which is all about the power of inner stillness. So what exactly is Shakti?
So, Shakti, it's not just about strength or beauty, not in this context. The key thing to understand is that it's defined as the cosmic intelligence of the universe itself. This is so important. Its power isn't meant to be loud or performative. It's a deep, quiet alignment with a higher truth.
So what does this original blueprint actually look like? Well, it's all about things like deep presence, a deep knowing, and, interestingly, a deep sense of restraint. And here's the kicker. Its whole purpose isn't about getting applause or winning some kind of competition. It's about purifying the world, about restoring cosmic order, what's known as Dharma.
Okay, so if that's the original design, how did we get so far from it? Well, that brings us right to the core idea of this whole thing, the Great Feminine Reversal. And it's not framed as a crisis of rights or roles, but as a crisis of our fundamental energetic direction.
And here it is, plain and simple. The idea is that without proper guidance, women are trading this sacred, deep insight for something much more superficial. Swapping that profound inner wisdom for external rewards. Likes on social media, a fancy job title, applause from the crowd, all that stuff. And this trade-off, it has a name, and it carries some heavy weight. It's called the Karmic Swap. So what does this Karmic Swap actually look like in real life? Well, you can see it in these trade-offs. Instead of devotion to a higher purpose, you get an addiction to being dominant. Instead of the wisdom that comes from silence, you get this constant need to broadcast your life. Sacrifice for the collective, for family, gets swapped out for pure individualistic ambition. And that inner work, that discipline, gets traded for just focusing on how things look on the outside. And this isn't just about an individual's journey. The argument here is that this karmic swap has ripple effects. When that core energy that's meant to hold the family together gets pointed in the wrong direction, it doesn't stop at the front door. It can actually spill out and create chaos in society at large. Okay, so what's the real price tag on all this? The source argues that the cost is incredibly high. It leads to this strange paradox, where we might have all the knowledge in the world, super educated minds, but our souls are basically starving. And you really see this trade-off playing out everywhere, right? Like using entertainment as a stand-in for real purpose, or building your whole sense of self on social media popularity. It's there in these big power roles where looking good is more important than being good. And even something like collecting degrees, not for the knowledge, but as a kind of identity armor to protect the ego. Okay, this is a super important point, so let's be clear. The argument here isn't that ambition is bad, not at all. It's not anti-success or anti-power. The critique is specifically about ambition that's, well, cut off from anything deeper. Ambition that's just about feeding the ego instead of serving a higher truth. From there, the focus shifts to something incredibly powerful, the maternal bond. But wow, this quote is a serious warning. It's saying that even that instinct, as powerful as it is, can turn toxic if it's not guided by real wisdom and truth. So how does that even happen? Well, it's described as a kind of downward spiral. It starts small. Maternal love without that deep wisdom becomes about controlling your kids instead of truly guiding them. Then you start bending the rules, maybe even justice itself, to protect your own family, ignoring what's right. And the end result of all that? Society as a whole starts to suffer because fundamental moral standards have been thrown out the window just to protect blood ties. And this all leads us to a really crucial distinction. The difference between real power, or Shakti, and its shadow side, which is called strategy. And wow, the contrast couldn't be clearer. You've got the woman of Shakti on one side, pure, aligned with truth, acting from a moral center to lift everyone up. And then on the other side, you have the woman of strategy, who's described as cunning, divisive, someone who uses emotional drama to get her way, and in the end, just leaves a mess of karmic residue behind.
And here's the final verdict on that kind of strategic, ungrounded power. It's not empowerment. No way. It's called karmic inflation. Think of it like a giant bubble of ego. And we all know what happens to bubbles. Sooner or later, they pop.
Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom. This isn't just about pointing out a problem. There's a path forward. The whole narrative kind of pivots here to something called a karmic correction. And the interesting part is, it might already be happening.
Yeah, you can really feel the shift in tone here. It's hopeful. The idea is that after chasing all the shiny objects the external world has to offer, people are getting exhausted. And that exhaustion is leading to a natural turn back towards what's real, what's inside.
And you know what's wild? We're actually seeing signs of this shift in the last place you'd expect. Celebrities, right? People who have literally won the game of external validation. They're the ones now talking publicly about turning inward, getting into meditation, studying Vedic philosophy, you name it. It's almost like they're telling us, hey, we got to the top of the mountain, and the real treasure was back at base camp the whole time.
So what's the big takeaway for us? What's the path back? It really boils down to a conscious choice, a reorientation. It's about choosing to act from your core, your essence, not just your ego. It's speaking up for what you know is true, not just what's popular. And at the end of the day, it's about leading from a place of inner devotion, not from a need to dominate everyone else.
And that leaves us with this one final, really powerful question to ask ourselves. And I mean, really ask yourself this. Am I building a life that my soul actually respects? Or am I just building a persona that the world will applaud?
In the end, after all of that, the entire message comes down to these 4 simple words. It's a call to action, a call to return to the self, because that's where the real power has been all along.